Meet our next guest, who's been in city politics for more than 2 decades, and he'll fill your prescription too. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're visiting with a man who's been here a heck of a long time. He's got some amazing memories of the area. Wilson Cain.
Good morning.
Good morning, Wilson.
How you doing, Greg?
Great. Thanks for getting in. It's so special on a Friday morning to be sitting here with you thinking about so many years now here in Myrtle Beach, and the excitement, obviously, as a community servant, a public servant, having served on city council for, I believe, 22 years?
22 years.
Incredible. Incredible. Do you remember that the first time you decided to make the commitment to go ahead and run for office?
Sure, I remember that very easily. And we ran against Barry Thigpen, and that's when you counted votes 1, 2, 3, 4, tally. And it's amazing that I told people that year I won the election by 1 vote. Actually, 1 vote. We counted them 5 times.
Oh yeah.
We had no computer. We did it manually, and I won by 1 vote. And 22 years later, I lost by 5 or 6 votes. The final count, I think, was 6 votes.
That is incredible. So it really that gets back to the idea of really getting folks out to vote.
Yeah, that's very true, and if the people don't get out and vote, you can never tell how it's going. But by losing by 6 votes, it opened another door. When one door closes, the good Lord lets another one be open for you, and so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, what's that door that opened up? Is this something you can share, or?
Well, the worst door, I think, was open when I had this 5 bypasses and a valve put in my heart on New Year's Eve, and I guess that the good Lord telling me that, hey, we opened another door for you. So that was opening to me.
Oh yeah. How's that been? That's a pretty exciting thing to kind of get cleaned out. I mean, obviously it was terrifying.
Well, it was. I had a good doctor. Dr. McIntyre done a wonderful job, and the hospital treated me wonderful. And I've had to stay out March the 21st, and I've been doing exercise and everything that I should do. And it's been a wonderful experience, and I had a lot of time to spend at home and be with my grandchildren and all that type of stuff. But I got a couple of projects going on. But
I don't know how CVS has survived without you, with you gone almost 3 months. Down there on 5th Avenue, it's so great going in there. Those folks have been developing film for me for about 1.5 years, and it's so exciting, obviously, to pop in and for those 3 months saying, "Where's Wilson?" And he's coming back. He'll be back soon.
Well, I went back on the 21st, which was Sunday a week ago, and now I'm back on full time.
That's an exciting feeling. Well, think back 40 years ago, Wilson, when you and your wife arrived in the area, and the area has changed so much. Last Thursday we had a guest who grew up in Marion and traveled down here a heck of a lot, learning the area, but was on the radio, and it was so exciting hearing him talk about some of the changes on the Strand.
Well, the changes have been unreal. At that time, we had 5 doctors in town, maybe 6, and today, I think, using it as a comparison, I think we've got about 350 doctors in this area, and it's available, and some of the doctors are still practicing. Dr. Butler, of course, is still practicing. I started going to him the first year I came here and made it an issue to be checked once a day or once a year, and I've done it ever since for all these number of years. And actually, on Labor Day, you could shoot a shotgun down 17 with no problem. It was almost eerie. And of course, I live on 29th Avenue South, and my daughter was born there, and I still lived on 29th Avenue South. At that time, there were beach houses on the south end, and there was I knew everybody that owned them, and this type of thing. And in the wintertime, it was rather relaxing, and you could do a lot of things that you don't have the ability to do now because there's so much people and you're so busy during the whole year. This resort really is. You can't tell the difference today in the traffic than you can in the summertime, basically.
You're right. It's incredible.
It's incredible. I mean, you cannot believe the flow of traffic.
On Friday.
So there's been a tremendous chat. You could go on the beach and fish, and you could do whatever you wanted to and go right across the breakers and catch fish. Well, you can still do that, but it's not like being done today as it did 40 years ago.
Some things stayed the same, though, and that's the one common denominator you and I have. The guy who's been telling me since I arrived in Myrtle, but even over the last year and a half, he used to say, you got to meet Wilson King. For the last year and a half, he's been saying, you got to get him on your show.
Yeah.
Tom, our barber, who is used to talk about you going out in the mornings early, checking on coins. I guess you owned a laundromat.
Yes, Tom rented a building for me, and when he moved to Myrtle Beach, and that's the first barbershop that he had in the city of Myrtle Beach, and it had been a barbershop many years prior to that, and I've been knowing him ever since, and he's been cutting my hair for that long.
That's amazing. Yeah, that is amazing.
And you can't run him out of town. He won his here to stay.
Right.
And he'll tell you that if you talk to him.
Oh, yeah, very definitely. And takes Fridays off.
Yeah. And he's a fellow that enjoys life. And, there is other things in life when people learn that you appreciate it. There is other things besides money.
That's a very important point. Wilson, what brought you and your wife here 40 years ago?
Well, I was born in a little town that in fact, as soon as this show is over, I'm going up there. It's Pamplico. And I came here. I've been coming to Myrtle Beach all my life, and when I got out of pharmacy school, I did my internship in Conway at Platt's Pharmacy, which is now no longer there, but it was an old drugstore under Benny Land, who's still living in Conway. I did my internship under him, and 2 years later, John Singleton, who was a fine young man, who is now deceased, and he wanted to build a new drugstore on the south end. He owned Northside Pharmacy on the north end. So we opened up Southside Pharmacy in the 6th Avenue Shopping Center, a very small store. And he said, well, Wilson, if you do X number of dollars, I'll be happy. And if I told you the low dollar, it was $100,000 a year. Now, can you imagine doing $100,000 a year? But I exceeded that the first year, and later on, it got too much for John, and I bought the store from him about a year later, or maybe 2 years later, and then I built a new store at Southside, and I had it for 30 years, and I just got tired of going in at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and getting home at 11 o'clock at night, and there is more besides work in life, too. You got to work hard and play hard, and that's what my philosophy is.
Well, it's got to be now. I know you think about going in at 7 and working until 10 or 11 at night. The ability to be, even though you were only 20-some blocks from home, surely the difficulty of getting home on a regular basis.
Well, I wouldn't. Most of the days I never got home at 10, 11 o'clock at night because, first off, we couldn't get in relief pharmacies. There was no vacation, no relief pharmacies. You just couldn't get them. I finally got one in the last 15 years, and then I hired Roddy Williams, who owns Ocean Lakes Pharmacy, who is a friend of mine, and we fish and hunt together all the time and own businesses together. And that made it a lot easier, and I enjoy life.
Now, there's a Captain Cain's putt-putt or a miniature golf there. Was that?
That was me. And
okay.
I designed that and built that golf course.
And that was right next door to the pharmacy, though?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, not too long ago, there was a Dixie Discount Beverage there, which has since moved over.
I owned a liquor store up there, too, Cain's Liquor. I owned that for a number of years.
Son of a gun. Involved in a lot there, Wilson. No wonder you were going home at 11 at night.
Yeah.
Golly. Well, you think about, obviously, the expansion on the south end of the beach. We're sitting here on the former Air Force Base, and to see some of the amazing changes here, and to hear you talk about your platform of really making sure the South End stays strong, it was important to have a South Strand representative on City Council. Well,
as of now, we have no one that lives on South End, and I was the only representative except John Maxwell was on there for 2 terms, I think.
Right.
I was the only representative on the South End. Now the closest one is 48th Avenue. There's nobody that directly lives on the South End of Myrtle Beach on City Council.
There is no one on City Council south of 48th Avenue.
Only one, and that's Mike Chester. He lives, but to my knowledge, there's nobody closer than 48th Avenue.
That is amazing. Down here, Seagate Village, so many of the large home developments down on the south end now, and so many more coming in.
That's true, and there is a making on the beach there. It's very possible to have as many as 2,000 homes built on the base, single family. That's in the make. I eat breakfast 3 or 4 days a week with Buddy Stiers, and he keeps me abreast with the South End. For example, the base, most of the people in the city of Myrtle Beach, and a lot of people, do not even know what's going on the redevelopment on the base, and it's astronomical.
It is.
I think already the RDAs have spent something over nearly $25 million on the base, and that's a lot of money. There's no way the city of Myrtle Beach could have spent that kind of money.
To see all the development and that new road work that'll be going straight out to the bypass, but have seen Horry Georgetown Tech's presence expand so much, the Coastal Carolina Association of Realtors, the Myrtle Beach Police Training Facility, DHEC showing up, even places like DeFino's, Divine Dining, and
That is correct, and the remaining of the route through the base will be completed in 9 months, and it's way under, and it should be open all the way to the back gate with a 4-lane highway, which is just the same as Grissom.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
And when the base was here, most people don't realize, but there was no exit from the south end of the beach except 3rd Avenue to get out of here in a case, or either go to 544. You couldn't get through the base. You could ride through the base with a permit, but it's a lot changed.
Wilson, you first went on council in January of '78, served for 6 years, I think, and then later came back in January of '88, and then served obviously to present.
I was offered. I was out of 24 years. I was off council for 2 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, for 2 years.
Talk real quick about some of the activities going on. Of course, Myrtle is a permanent population, around 25,000, but the staff acts like a city of 200,000. I mean, 770 full-time employees.
Well, our slogan of the city of Myrtle Beach, of course, is first in service, and I think we are. I've been to several national cities in the United States around and conventions, and we are so far ahead of a lot of cities that it's unbelievable. And you find that out by going to these meetings, and we are way ahead of a lot of cities, and a lot of cities try to kind of run their city on some of the things that we've accomplished, and I think we've done real well.
When you think about some of your major accomplishments, the things you were particularly instrumental in or particularly active with while you served on council, what were some of the things you were focused on for the residents, either on the south end or the entire city?
One of the first things, of course, was get up the water and sewer, that's an ongoing situation where you have to. The federal government requires you to spend X number of dollars to do things to keep your water quality up and your sewer treatment facilities up. That was a big project, but one of the ones that I'll never forget it. When we built the city complex jail, Ted Collins, the jail and complex. I said to all council members, I said, y'all, are you sure that we have enough parking? Oh, we got enough parking, but what you see today, we do not. They've acquired another lot, but at that time, the cities and school systems, especially, they never seem to want to plan for the future. Well, here we are, and we could have bought the X land, but we didn't have that kind of money for parking. But now we've already had to spend X dollars to try to accommodate, to get more parking for the complex.
And that seems indicative of everyone. Wilson, here Coastal Carolina having terrible parking problems, Francis Marion or UNC Pembroke. I mean, all the schools in the area, Horry Georgetown Tech even. Obviously on the base they've had some great signs, but you see a lot of folks parking in the grass. I mean, there's just...
everybody's got to drive one vehicle. They can't ride together. And this is where the city of Myrtle Beach has always been a car town.
Oh, yeah?
To tourism, actually, you've got an airport. Yeah, it brings some people in here, but not them numbers that come in the vehicle.
Oh, yeah. You're exactly right. It is amazing. Thank the Lord we're a drive town. That's right, as opposed to some of the folks that have been affected so dramatically post 9/11 with the air travel that dropped off.
Right. And you see the convention center that was started when everybody thought we were crazy, and the convention center is where it is today, and that was a big project. And we've had numerous projects in this city of Myrtle Beach, but I've been big in that, big and active at seeing that we had something for the senior citizens and especially youth, which is recreation facilities. And I tried to get council 10 years ago to float a bond issue to do what we passed a resolution on the last election to do all these improvements in the recreation facilities and stormwater.
Speaking of recreation, Mark Crew sent me some info about you, and on there it reminded me to go to the citymyrtlebeach.com site. There, when you review city services and you see police, and fire and public works and everything involved in public works and cultural and leisure services, the Chapin Library, the Convention Center, obviously the Whispering Pines Golf Course. You think of the aspects of the planning department and construction, municipal court, so many things going on within the city. How do y'all do it all?
Well, like I said, 20 years ago we would probably meet 4 or 5 hours a week. Now, as when I last served last year, we'd meet 20, 25 hours a week easy. That's just meeting time, not what other time that's involved. It's not. City council is a full-time job in its aspect.
Mm-hmm. That aspect of the 7-member city council, obviously the 6 members plus the mayor, and then a chief executive officer, the city manager.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that's most towns are run that way.
Well, today's, because of the involvement and the sizes of cities, it is run that way. And the old way was that when you had a council, each council person, he was in charge or she was in charge of certain activities, or the police department, water department. Each one had something they were responsible for. But today you could not do that.
Mm-hmm. Wilson, let's reflect a little bit about when you and your wife arrived 40 years ago. Someone called me early this morning to talk about, if you have a chance in talking to Wilson, talk to him about some of the places that he remembers that really stick out in his mind, either on the south end of the beach or place along the Strand. What are some memories that are really vivid?
Well, for example, Brant's on 3rd Avenue, which used to had a 19-cent hamburger. He built the place. They said nobody's going to buy no hamburgers there. And even when I was in high school, we used to come down here, and that's where you go. And they had another place, and I can't remember call the name of it, but right up on 9th Avenue in the corner where the sales station that Chapin had, right across the street was a drive-in restaurant, meaning it had girl hops and all that stuff. Car hops used to be. And but the 19-cent hamburger, in fact, the building has been moved right down the street, and it's still there. But Mr. Brandt still lives here, and he started a 19-cent hamburger.
That's amazing.
And he used to have to get up to your car, go up to the one, order the hamburger. And nobody said nobody would do that. Well, that's not, that happened. It happened, and he had a tremendous business.
Right.
So don't say what people. I never thought people would buy water, but you see they do today.
Oh yeah, look at that. Our show sponsor. Yeah, very definitely.
Every day. I would have liked to invest some money in that because I never could have believed that. But people, I'll make an issue on gasoline today, $1.64 a gallon. They complained about that, but they pay $1.29 for a little small bottle of water.
Right.
It's where you got your priorities.
I'm not going to touch that. That's our show sponsor, Wilson. You were also saying earlier about mobile phones.
Yeah, mobile phones. Oh my gosh, that's a fad too, and everybody's got one. They'll get in the car before they back out the yard. They talking on the phone. If they talk on the phone much as I do in a day, they won't have one. I don't have one, and I don't want one.
Is that right? Well, sometimes they're good. Obviously, they're encouraged for folks in emergency situations.
But we got along with them 20 years ago without them.
That's a very good point. Absolutely, and I'm not promoting the mobile phone industry, very definitely. But the security aspects can sometimes be a good thing. But that's a very good point. What about seeing some of the explosive growth there on the south end, close to y'all's home on 29th Avenue? You've had that South Beach adventure, much going on down in there. The Crown Reef Resort.
Yeah. I remember when I moved down there, people say, "Why are you moving down there?" I said, "Well, I just want to be close to my business. I could be in my store in 5 minutes."
Right, sure.
Why do I want to drive 20 miles to go to work? Where I live, you need to live where your customers are and where your people are, and be involved with them, and that's what I wanted to do. And I've been there over almost 40 years. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And on the ocean front, I remember we used to have a friend of mine who owned a house on the ocean front, and it had a swimming pool. Boy, that's 40 years ago. That was something never heard of. And there were all beach houses on the front, all the way up to 6th Avenue. That's all you had. Mm-hmm. And it's just totally different. Mm. And it's amazing how things change.
Mm-hmm. How about that aspect of being a pharmacist? You've been doing that a heck of a long time, and obviously that interaction with the patients, the folks up and down the Strand and from all over the country, all over the world that are here who have pharmaceutical needs and have got to get in there. But y'all do a heck of a lot of little, I mean, it's almost like doctoring. I guess it is.
Yes, when we had 5 doctors in the city of Myrtle Beach, I feel comfortable. I save people millions of dollars that would go to the hospital for something was skint toe or sunburn, or that kind of stuff. And I made a product called UT cream, and I still make it.
What's that?
UT cream.
UT cream?
Yeah, and we used it for sunburn and on numerous other things. And I used to make it by the hundreds of bottles, and it was a big item in the summertime. We shipped it all over the country. In fact, I still do. And it's good for everything. And had a customer call me yesterday, and he hadn't seen me in 10 years, and he used to buy it from me. He found out where I was, and he said, bring me a bottle of it to the store, I'll pick it up. And so I got it made up on the counter at home for him so he can get it. But
wow.
And it's amazing. And, people, one lady that still orders 12 bottles at a time. I mean, it's good for everything.
Yeah.
And
you make it at home.
Yeah, make it at home.
That sounds a little... No witch doctors here today. That's
people get, people when they're on vacation, they get sunburned or get hurt, minor things. First thing they want to do is go to the hospital, and a lot of times that's not necessary. And I try to treat a person as a person, not a number. People want to be talked to. A stranger is just somebody you hadn't met. That's all that is.
A stranger is just somebody.
Everybody needs a hug every day.
What's the greatest part about being a grandfather, Wilson?
Oh, the greatest part of being a grandfather? Oh, Lord have mercy.
Think about that aspect. You've got 2 children, I think I saw.
Yeah.
Y'all have, they've got 5 children.
Right, and then I have a child that I raised who has 3. So we have 8 grandchildren, and they start at a set of twins at 2. And then we got the oldest one is 13. And they're very loving children, and their family stays home and looks after them. And
are they living close by?
All of them live in. My son lives in Conway, and my daughter lives in Mount Gilead in Surfside, and her husband's a pharmacist also.
Oh, come on!
Yes, he would work for me as an intern, and he graduated from University of Georgia, and who was born in Merle's, Willie Lee. His daddy owned Wallace Lee's, and he's been here all his life. And they are very good. My kids are wonderful.
Do you get to see your grandchildren a lot? I guess you must.
Yeah, I do. In fact, one called me yesterday and wanted to spend the night, and he had to go to church last night, so he couldn't come. The next one's out of school next week, and he's already called and said, I want to be with you, Papa, Monday. We want to go to the farm. That's what he wants to do.
Oh, yeah.
So he can have fun.
You spend a lot of time out on the farm?
Well, I have since I got out of the city. I have spent probably 20 days up there in the last 60 trying to do. My sister and I are restoring the family, our house that we grew up in. The home is my grandfather built it, and it's 135 years old.
135 years old. A guest yesterday on the show, one of the folks in her office sent me a fax, and on the bottom, real tiny writing, it said, in business since 1869. And I thought, my Lord, that you don't see that often, but you also don't see homes that are being restored 135 years old.
No, we really enjoyed it. In fact, when I get off this show, that's where I'm going.
That's great, Wilson. Golly, you think about all the experiences, of course, in growing up in South Lawrence, going off to, I guess, was it Auburn?
I have multiple degrees. I went to Spartanburg Junior College, which is today Spartanburg Methodist College, and I graduated from there in 2 years of civil engineering. And then I decided to go to pharmacy school, so I went to the Medical University of South Carolina, and then I did move to Auburn, Alabama, my senior year, and because I could finish quicker, and I finished Auburn University.
Golly, okay. That experience, of course, of being in Alabama, but knowing that something in Horry County or in the Palmetto State was pulling you home.
Oh, yeah, I knew I was coming home. There was no doubt about that when I left. So I'm a hometown boy.
That's fantastic. Wilson, if you weren't Wilson Cain, the pharmacist, or the business owner, or what do you think you'd be doing?
I don't know what I would be doing. Yes, I do. I'd probably be back in the restaurant business. That we own restaurants, and Daddy tried to get me to go home, but I wanted to be something different, and I wanted to be my own, and that's why I knew that I could go in the restaurant business anytime because, you know, if I had that pharmacy degree, I could have something to fall back in. I didn't have to use it, but I enjoy it, and I am a people's person. And I quit for 5 months. I got out of the pharmacy when I sold my. I didn't do any pharmacy work. I missed the people too much. I didn't miss my own store as much as I did the people, and I missed the people.
Mm-hmm. Three simple messages. Three simple messages. There's more to life than money. There's more to life than work. And a stranger, just somebody you haven't met. That's part of the reason why he served on city council for 22 years, a public servant, represented so many folks, not only on the south end, but the entire city, a lover of grandchildren. Wilson, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you. I enjoyed it, and God bless you.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Wilson Cain coming up next. You've seen him behind the counter for 40 years. You've seen him behind the dais for, golly, 22 years. You can now see him still behind the counter there at CVS on the South Strand on 5th Avenue. Pop by and see former Councilman Wilson Cain. He's still giving back to the community every day. I know he'd love to see you.